Let's talk about a quiet crisis. It's not something you'll see in the headlines, but it's happening all around us and inside our own heads. It's the slow, steady erosion of our ability to actually think for ourselves.
So I want to start by asking you a question. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you actually changed your mind about something important during a conversation? Not because you felt pressured, but because you listened to a different point of view and thought, maybe I've got this wrong. If you're struggling to come up with an answer, well, you're not alone. And that's really the heart of the problem we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so let's dive right in. This isn't really a crisis of intelligence. People are as smart as they've ever been. No, this is about a massive cultural shift that's changed what we value, what we reward, and what we punish when it comes to thinking.
Right now, in our culture, certainty is treated like currency. The person who sounds the most sure of themselves, the most decisive, that's who we're told to listen to. That's who gets the clicks, the promotion, the followers. Doubt is seen as weakness. And you can see the dynamic we've created right here. We reward confidence and certainty, but we often punish things like curiosity, nuance, and admitting you're just not sure. Saying, I don't know, or that's a good point, I need to think about that, can feel like you're losing. So what do? We all just perform certainty. It's become a survival skill. But here's the thing. The greatest thinkers in history saw it the exact opposite way. People like Charles Darwin or Marie Curie or Albert Einstein, they were obsessed with the idea that they might be wrong. They knew that uncertainty wasn't a failure, it was the starting line for discovery. You have to be willing to be wrong to ever find out what's actually right. So you have to ask, how did we get here? Why are we suddenly punishing the very thing that drives all human progress? Well, to get to the bottom of it, we need to look at three powerful and often invisible forces that are chipping away at our ability to think clearly. These three forces are working together, kind of like a perfect storm. You've got the digital world we're all swimming in, the way we're often taught to think in school, and finally, the built-in biases of our own brains. It's a powerful combination. First up, the attention economy. It's pretty simple. Every single app on your phone, every website, every feed, they're all in a war for one thing, your focus. Your attention has become the product, and their business model is to harvest as much of it as they possibly can. And the result of that constant battle for our focus is, well, it's pretty stark. Look at these numbers. Our average attention span has literally shrunk. We're being rewired for constant, rapid-fire scanning, which is the polar opposite of the slow, deep focus you need for any real critical thought. And it goes even deeper than that. Ever noticed how online outrage just seems to spread like wildfire? That is not an accident. The algorithms have learned that outrage gets the most engagement. It makes you click, comment, share. So you're not just having a conversation online, you're in an environment that has been carefully engineered to make you feel, not think.
Okay, force number 2, our education system. Now, of course, there are amazing teachers out there doing incredible work, but the system itself is often built around finding the one correct answer for the test. This is called convergent thinking, everyone converging on a single point. What gets less practice is divergent thinking, exploring lots of possibilities, asking but why, and even questioning the question itself.
And the third force? Well, it's us. It's our own brains. There's this thing called the backfire effect. When one of our core beliefs gets challenged with facts, our brain can react as if we're being physically attacked. It's crazy. So instead of opening our minds, we often just double down, clinging to our belief even harder. We also do something called motivated reasoning. This is where we start with a conclusion we want to be true, usually because it's tied to our identity, and then we work backward, like a detective, but only picking up the clues that support our case. And the irony is, really smart people can be even better at this, because they're more skilled at building a sophisticated, rational-sounding argument for something they believe for purely emotional reasons. Okay, so that was a lot. And it might sound pretty bleak, but here's the most important part of this whole thing, and it's incredibly hopeful. Critical thinking is not some talent you're born with. It is a skill. And just like any other skill, it can be practiced, it can be developed, and you can get stronger at it. So how do we do it? We can start by building 4 simple habits. 1, the pause. Before you react to that headline, just stop. Ask yourself, what is this designed to make me feel? 2, steel manning. That means instead of arguing against the weakest, dumbest version of the other side's argument, you engage with the strongest, most intelligent version. 3, diversify your sources. Actively go find the smartest people you disagree with and really listen to what they have to say. And 4, protect your attention. Carve out time to be offline, to be bored, to let your mind wander. That's where real thinking happens. Now, you might be thinking this is all just about personal growth, about being a better thinker. And it is, but the stakes are so much higher than that. Reclaiming our ability to think clearly is, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, essential for the health of our entire society.
You know, this isn't a new idea. The people who designed the frameworks for modern democracies knew this from the start. They understood that a free society doesn't just run on its own. It absolutely depends on having citizens who can think for themselves, who can tell when they're being played, and who can handle complicated issues without just retreating into their own tribe.
Because when a whole population starts to lose that ability, the consequences are predictable and they're severe. A society that can't think critically becomes incredibly easy to manipulate, easy to divide. It falls for simple, satisfying stories instead of grappling with complex truths. And eventually, it becomes vulnerable to losing the very freedoms it was built on.
So, at the end of the day, it really comes down to this. In an age of constant noise and misinformation, one of the most powerful, most responsible things any of us can do is simply to become harder to fool. It's a gift we give not just to ourselves, but to everyone.
You know, in a world that rewards being loud and certain, maybe the most radical, most courageous act is to just embrace intellectual humility. To be able to say, you know what, I'm not sure. To be genuinely curious when you're confused. And to be truly willing to change your mind when the evidence points a different way.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. This isn't about winning arguments or proving you're on the right side. It's a much deeper, more personal question. Who do you want to be as a thinker? Do you want to be someone swept along by the currents of outrage and certainty? Or someone who is grounded in curiosity and a genuine search for what's true? The choice and the hard work is up to all of us.